What?
What's going on, everybody? Dom back with PowerSlap News. Joining me is the mechanic Vern. Vern, long time, buddy. How's it been?
It's good. It's going good. Everything's good.
So we're fresh off of PowerSlap 1, essentially. It's over. It's done in the bag. I know there's already talk about PowerSlap, the next one, Abu Dhabi, all that. But let's go back to the first one. What did it feel like, man, to walk out live event in Vegas, live crowd, big live audience? What did that feel like?
It was unreal. It was kind of everything I hoped it'd be. Like, to be honest with you, the walkout was great. They let me pick my song, which I loved it. It was awesome. And yeah, I mean the whole event was awesome up until what happened. But other than that, we're good.
Well, I don't mean to burst your bubble there, but I happen to be sitting in the friends and family section there, and I have it on good authority. You didn't pick your song. Somebody else picked your song, and they're very happy that was the song that you walked out to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like that you guys really had that extra freedom there to really show everybody a little bit of your personality. I thought that was really cool.
Hmm.
So, main event happened, didn't go the way you wanted, unfortunately. What did that feel like? I know taking a defeat isn't the easiest thing to do. Was
Uh,
it? How hard was that?
it's pretty hard. I've never lost a fight in my life. Um, the only the only part about it is I wish I would have got all 10 seconds. It seemed like a lot of people got more than 10 seconds because, I mean, you were there live. I mean, as soon as four hit, I was getting up to the table. They were pulling me back down. That was kind of I was the only person that they held like that. I watched all the videos, because I'm that person that's like, well, I'm going to see if they did this to everyone else. But, you know, Jason, he called it, and that's up to him. He is the judge and jury right there. So that's him. I was fine. I mean, afterwards, you saw me talking to AJ. They didn't show on TV where I was standing on one foot touching my nose though during the.
Yeah, they pick and choose there what they like to show the crowd. We were there live, like you said, and while I was filming it, my friend was there and he was saying that was quick in terms of the count. And I think like you said, when you're there, looking back on it, I think there was a little bit of inconsistencies in regards to who had to walk how many steps, who had to walk twice, who was given more time to get up, who was like getting the count on the ground. Like it was the first event. Do you think that
Yeah,
you chalk that up to like, round one kind of green? Everyone's a little green.
yeah, and I don't want to take anything away from AJ. He did a great job. You know, he had me tricked up. Honestly, I thought he was going to go on three, and I'd been mentally preparing myself for how I was going to prepare for the slap, and I was a little off. I wasn't fully tensed and ready, but that's my fault, not his. So he did a good job, and yeah, nothing but the best for him. He's a great guy.
We noticed there was a chalk change. I kept hearing that talk. Like everyone was talking about, oh, they're using a ball now. Was that more to stop the chalk from getting in people's eyes, or was that more to stop the fanfare, people blowing it around and making a big mess? Did they mention that to you at all?
No, they didn't mention that to me, but I'm assuming it was more towards like, the athlete side because some guys just went absolutely crazy with it, and that's just not necessary. I mean, if you saw me, I was a power lifter, so I just rubbed it on my hand and, I didn't do anything crazy with it.
It was just something I heard some mumbling about in there that people may have been complaining about getting in the eye, and then looking back, you're like, yeah, you know what, that might have been something. In terms of, we talked about this before briefly, the height versus weight. Did you feel any of that, like different advantage in there, being the taller fighter? Did you feel like AJ had the advantage being the shorter fighter?
I think in this game, yeah, the shorter fighter is the better one. You get to come up a little bit more. And he because of his height, I had to change my trajectory. So if you notice, it didn't look like my normal slap, because normally I follow through a lot better. Well, I was having to come up and then rotate different, so I didn't follow through all the way like I normally do. So that's just another learning curve that we're gonna have to go through and just try to make a better slap next time.
I get it. I like we said, we talked about it before, the crouching and the coming up, and that hits that more of like the button sweet
Mhm.
spot. And I think I agree with you that the shorter fighter in this has the advantage. Do you think eventually things like betting odds and the line is going to start to reflect that, or is this always going to be kind of like a fight or feel thing?
Oh man, I don't know. It's probably gonna be a fight or feel thing. I mean, but who knows? They make bets on everything. I mean, if you look at, I mean, the national anthem, how long it's gonna go on a, and it's a bet. Like, so the sky's the limit on betting. So, but I do want to say I was the only guy to knock AJ down,
That's true. That's true.
and
And
he did a good job. Like I didn't. I mean, when he started wobbling to the side, I was like, oh, I got this. And then he kind of grabbed the stand a little bit and he composed himself. So he did a great job.
no, I overall I thought the event was amazing. Being there in person, first lap event, super amazing. Like seeing the celebrities there. I wanted to ask you. We saw, Rick from Pawn Stars, Nelk Boys, people like that. Anybody that you got to meet backstage, super like, ooh, I like that guy. If anyone you were a fan of, that was super
You
awesome
know,
for you.
Rick came up and talked to me for a little bit. That was nice. And then the Nelk boys, I talked to them for a little bit. And what's the Bussing with the Boys, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, I liked their video. They posted a video on how I got robbed, so I was super excited about that. But no, the day before I met Mark Wahlberg, he stopped in. So there's quite a few celebrities that are enjoying this, so that's good for us.
So I know a lot of fighters have been getting a letter recently, a not so great letter, unfortunately, being released from PowerSlap. I don't think that's the case with you, but can we get it on record? You're still on contract with PowerSlap.
Oh yeah, I'm 100% on contract with PowerSlap. I talked to Dana a couple days after, because it's him and everyone. Me and AJ's fight was pretty much the biggest fight of the night. They were excited about it. Wolverine overdid us because he won. It was awesome. But yeah, I asked him if I still had a job, and of course he responded. He's like, yeah, he's like, we love you, bud. You're a good guy. So yeah, of course you got a job. So, but if I keep on losing, I'm not gonna have a job. So we got to turn this around.
So, have you seen the updated website? There's a bunch of new fighters on the roster. Anybody on that list that's looking ripe for you, looking like that's your guy, that's who you want next? Any of these new guys looking prime?
No, honestly, I didn't look at it because they didn't let us watch those fights. So in general, I have no knowledge whatsoever of the person other than, there's a lot of the guys that were there. They came up and talked to me and, you know, I saw some of them. They're like, hey, I'm in this weight class. I'm in this weight class. There's a kid, he's a taxidermist. I can't remember his name. Um, he's in my weight class. He did a great knockout. So, people inform me of that. So there's going to be some up and comers, and in this sport as it progresses, I mean, you're going to have to train, and I think you're going to see season two and progress be more athletic oriented. And nothing against AJ because he's doing a great job. There's always guys that are just natural at stuff. So I'm going to look into a few of them, but as of right now, I'm just kind of skipping over it.
So I want to expand a little bit more on that athleticism. What are you doing in your off season there? Are you any specific gym that you train at, a team for? Is it you do specific power slam training now, or are you just doing overall like athletic kind of endurance type of training?
I'm gonna take this time to reflect on it, and I'm gonna build a training routine that's gonna benefit towards Power Slap. Despite what the haters say, I mean, there's certain things I can do, and most of it is just being able to control your power and keeping your feet planted. So I'm gonna work on that, and I hate all the haters and what they're gonna say, but I'm gonna take more slaps in the off season than I want to, but I need it. I need to. I've never been knocked out, so that moment was absolutely new for me. Even when I fought in MMA, I've been dazed, but that was the first time I've ever been out in my life. So I may have to take a few hits to knock myself out with a buddy of mine, just so we can go forward through it.
Just to get that feeling, and then you can really like you said, not panic when you're on the floor. Take your 4 seconds. You know what this
Yep.
is. You know where you're at. I think, like you just said, if it was that super new experience for you, you're right. You might have potentially robbed yourself of some recovery time. May have
Yeah. I
pre-panicked.
I should have I should have stayed on my hands and knees for a little bit longer, and then instead of trying to immediately get up because my left arm just didn't work right, but once he saw me sit back, I was up and I was reaching my hand. So, there's strategy in this, and I just took the wrong strategy. And AJ's way better at getting up than me, obviously, because he popped up and he was ready to go.
So if there was something about the sport that you would change, coin toss, would it be like the count? Is there anything in there rule wise, as somebody who's now gone through kind of like season one, what do you think can evolve and get a little better? Or what's a little rough?
I think honestly, it's going to sound weird, but the table's too narrow. I don't know if you saw, I was quite a ways back from the table, and I needed to be back a little further, and that's only because I hit AJ higher than I should have. So it was very close to a club. So the table distance, I really think they need to make the table longer, because that'll keep the people from 90 in their arm as they're coming across, and it'll make their arm a lot more straight. So it'll be more of a slap than a like you'll like a
Like a
oh
swoop,
what's his what
like a swoop.
it'll be more like a swoop, but your arm will be a lot straighter if the barrel was further away. And I think the barrel being wider would eliminate a lot of clubs.
I see that. That's an interesting take. I haven't heard too much people talk about the barrel itself. There was a few people there that got a little rattled and grabbed it, and we were in the crowd like, "Ooh, what's the rule on that on recovery? Are you guys really allowed? How much of the barrel can you guys lean on?"
They didn't really say much about it, so that's probably going to be a rule change coming up. But I mean, in a safety standard, I think that you should be able to grab it, because it's going to help you from falling again. And then that's why I think we should proceed with a walk, anything like that. So I don't see grabbing the barrel as an issue.
So one thing that we can address right now and kind of like squash this with the haters, you experienced it firsthand. Dana White boasts about it. How was the care and recovery during and after the event? Were people checking in on you? Were you like felt like you were in good hands, or did they brush you off and send you back to the hotel? What
No,
happened?
no. They're Dr. Davison. He's a great guy there in Vegas. He does a lot of the UFC stuff. He seems to be the guy I get every time, and he's great. It was actually funny. I don't know if you saw the post that I said that I did a backflip in the back for the doctors.
No, I didn't see.
Yeah, yeah, I did. So like
But you,
Jesus and Azael were back there, and I was mad, and I was like, I'm fine. They cut it too early, and they're like, no, no. And then I did a backflip, and Dr. Davison looks at me and goes, okay, whatever, you know. But so I only got a 40-day suspension instead of a 60-day. But and that's another thing. Like, health wise, you're not going to find a better organization on health wise. There's doctors there before and after. I mean, you heard one of the guys, the fights got canceled because in the test they found he had a brain aneurysm. Unrelated to the sport, but once again, that's another person that they're helping out through these testings. So it can only be better. I mean, that's the greatest thing they have going, honestly, for them is they're 100% athlete oriented.
Well, I think that's a good thing to put on the record, just because there were a lot of people who talk about, I know there was a lot of like after the event, all these doctors and all these people, "Oh, this is CTE, this is this. And it's like, you know what? These guys are choosing to do it. They're in good hands. They're feeling like they're well taken care of. I think you're somebody who's lived it firsthand. I think that's
Mhm.
important to put on the record.
And I'll I'll tell you firsthand. Like, I had to do a physical before, and I'm an older gentleman. I say older. I'm 38, and I've always been an athlete my whole life, so it's not like I'm in bad shape. It was so funny because if you're younger, you don't get an EKG. Well, I had to do an EKG, and I mean, so they did that. I mean, they were looking for ways to fail me. Like, it wasn't like they were going out, hey, we're gonna check his boxes and let him roll on. Like, I did balance tests with my eyes closed while walking forward, with my eyes closed and like my palms up, palms down. I mean, the physician that they gave me in Vegas, like 100%, he was going to fail me if I wasn't going to pass. Like, no ifs, ands, or buts.
Yeah. So that's good to know. They're not there to be your friend. They're there
No.
to make sure that they're looking out for you in a way that you wouldn't look out for yourself, type of
Yep.
deal.
Every doctor that I've had that they've given me, it has been as much as a third party doctor as you can get, where they're here to help you, they're here to make sure everything goes good, but if they have to fail you, they don't care. And that's the best thing we need.
Yeah, I think that's super awesome. I also wanted to ask you before you left, thoughts on season two. I know a lot of we're going to see a lot of Russian, Polish. I think he also said South African kind of fighters. I know we got sanctioned in 5 states. We were excited to see this thing on the road. Do you think there's going to be some kind of like PowerSlap fight nights while season two is kind of going on in like Abu Dhabi and some of these states?
They're gonna have to. I mean, I don't remember if I had 8 or 6 matches on my contract. I thought I had 8, so I'm down 2. So I should have 6 left on my contract. So, that's within a 2-year time span. So they're gonna have to get kicking if they want, and I want them to. So I believe them getting it sanctioned, and I don't think it's gonna be as theatrical as what's going on with while the season's going. I think it's gonna be like, hey, show up on a Thursday, weigh in Friday, fight Saturday, fly out Sunday. It's not gonna be a whole week deal.
Mhm.
But when they make episode 2, obviously it's gonna be the same way. But yeah, they're gonna have to. I mean, we with the amount of people we have on the rosters and what they want to do, they're gonna need to pick up the pace.
So main event, let's just say PowerSlap 2. If it's in Dubai, are you going there if you make it, if you make the cut, or is there ever like a cutoff somewhere you don't travel? I don't go out there. No, I only stay in America kind of thing.
No, no, 100%. I'm here for the company, and I'm here for Dana, Frank, and Hunter. That's why they hired me too. Is I'm a guy that doesn't back down, regardless. Even all the haters like, oh, Vern's never taken a slap, but those people also probably didn't Google me or look up my history. I mean, I've MMA fought. I've wrestled, powerlifting. I mean, when you're an athlete, you're an athlete. You're going to show up and do your job.
Yeah. So when Fight Island turns into Slap Island, I'm expecting to see the mechanic out there.
Yep. Yeah. You guys, spread the word. If you guys want me there, do all you can to say, hey, we want Vern, we want Vern. The people in masses always seems to get things done. I mean, look at Conor McGregor. I mean, he fought Mayweather. I mean, would that have ever happened if the people didn't want it? No.
No, that was the people wanted to see that. That's something that one of the biggest social media fiascos ever, I want to say.
So, and with this being a social media, I mean, I'm going to say it. It's a social media sport. It's not going to ever. I mean, I don't think it's ever going to turn into, a full like how they have ESPN and all the other organizations that deal with UFC. I'm not saying we're not going to have a fight night on ESPN or something like that, but it's not going to be the UFC level. It'll be once every 3 months, once every 4 months. But as a sport, this is going to be growing on social media like no other. And I love that because people contact me all the time. I message them back. It was actually funny. Like I messaged some guys from Ireland and I video chatted with them on St. Patty's Day, and they were just going nuts. And so I see it growing, and I want it to grow. It's got to grow.
It's definitely growing. I could tell you just from our end, social media wise, it's growing ever since PowerSlap 1. I think you guys really kind of put the sport on the board. I think everyone really represented the sport in a very positive light. I think the overall like theme or goal was don't foul, clean strikes. Let's have a very clean event. And I think you guys really put that across. And I think that really helped kind of sway the opinion to no, this is something that's a lot more serious than just a little TikTok slapping somebody in the face.
Yeah, and you saying that too, and them stopping my fight short. Yes, I'm upset with it, but am I ever going to go up to Jason and be like, hey, that was dumb? No, it's 100%. He has all right to stop it, and that's why we're going to make the sport safe. So people are going to have to deal with early stoppages, and the judges getting involved, and that can only improve the sport. And that's why that's why I believe I'm going to have a job, is because you haven't seen me blasting on social media. Oh, I got robbed. Oh, I got robbed. I didn't like the outcome. There, if you like losing, then you're in the wrong sport. So I'm voicing my opinion, but I'm happy for Jason and I'm happy for Forrest because they were doing their job.
I think I can speak from experience. I literally spoke to you the night of the loss. Very humble in defeat. Very like honest guy. We really want to see you back, man. We really like seeing you compete. Like, got 2 big fans here. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I
No,
know
you're
you
good.
just
I'm good.
got
You're
off
good.
of work.
You're
Anything?
good.
All right, sweet. If you want to keep going, I'd love to chat a little bit more about the
Yeah. Yep.
future of the season.
No problem.
So season two, right? We're coming up. We're going to be in Dubai. I wanted to ask you, I know there's always this thing in MMA, people train in like high altitude. Do you think the climate's going to matter? These guys who are in like a colder environment, do they got harder skin? Is that going to be an effect?
No, I just think, I mean, I've known some Russian guys just from competing, it's just like the Icelandic guys. I think it's the environment and how you're raised. And, honestly, Americans were pretty soft. There's very few guys like me and a couple other guys on the competition, like John Davis. I mean, he's a welder and a metal worker. I mean, that guy's tough as nails. He'll show up and do his job. I just think when you go to Russia, Poland, you're just in a country that you're not handed stuff to. So I think you're going to get the athletes that are willing to just compete like this. So the range is going to be so much better. Their pool of athletes are going to be greater.
I'm excited to see who comes out of there, right? We know that's where Slap originated. Now that we tap into that fan base, right? We're gonna get into that Russia, East European kind of. That's where Slap originated. That's where we originally saw the diehard fans come from. You think some of those fans are now going to trickle over and come on into Power Slap, or are they still going to stick to their Slap leagues?
Oh, I think they'll trickle over. I mean, it's just like any sport. You have Bellator and you have UFC. I think, by the end of it, we'll probably have three big organizations: Power Slap, and then Slap Fight Championship with JT, and then a European league of some sort.
So speaking of JT, since you brought him up, JT seems to be this guy who's bringing all these, I want to say different sports to light. We got car seat
Yeah.
jiu-jitsu. I was talking to some other guys there. They let it leak out that maybe there's going to be some tire wrestling. Anything that you heard coming out of JT recently? Anything new to be on the radar for?
I also heard the tire wrestling. I'm not 100% sure. Me and him talked about the car jujitsu, and I was saying that I want to see a person in the back seat and a person in the front seat and make it more of a life situation.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? Where the driver gets attacked. I think that's why I started watching it. I was like, wow, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, that's a real scenario. Like it's not very often you get to watch a sport where it's like, oh, I that could be relatable. I mean, people get attacked all the time, and you see crazy people in Uber cars. So it's like, I'm for it.
I saw a couple of them, and after watching a few videos, I think I'm very confident enough that I can now use that car seat to
Yeah.
secure a triangle, right? You didn't think about that before, but it's in
Nope.
my arsenal now, you know?
Yeah, it's like when you watch jujitsu, like full gi and no gi. I mean, you're just opening up a whole nother can of worms of what you can do in that car. So I love it. And then the car tire, the tire wrestling, I got to see it. My head's still like I don't get this. But we're gonna find out.
I heard you, the goal is to dunk the other man into the tire without leaving the tire yourself. So I'm picturing it. I think, like you said, we got to kind of see it. I also heard rumors of a possible American sumo league coming out of JT, something very similar to sumo.
That would be awesome. I love little niche sports. Like, have you seen phone booth fights?
No.
Yeah, Google that. Two guys get stuck in a phone booth and you just battle it out.
Is that JT as well?
No, that was someone else, but I
Oh.
mean, I want to be more realistic, on some stuff. I think it's kind of cool. It's like oh Michael Bisping, he asked me about, he goes, "Hey, would you rather take a slap or a punch?" And I said I'd take a straight, or cross punch before I'd ever take a slap or a hook.
Hmm.
So in my mind, a slap and a hook are pretty comparable, but punch in the face, if you're just getting a straight, I'd eat it all day.
Really, eh? Is that like because of the risk factor? Is there like just or more chance of a knockout?
Uh,
Like where is the
there's just more power in those two. You know what I mean?
uh, interesting? Because I would think definitely avoid the punch and you get your teeth, kind of knocked. That would suck a lot more. No, you're saying the slap?
No, you gotta stay in it. So
Hmm.
like real good fighters will stay in for the punch, and for their next punch. So it's the guys that are, constantly. I mean, you look at Mike Tyson; he ate a few punches to deliver a badass punch. So,
Interesting. Learn something new every day.
but that's me. I mean, sometimes you got to eat them.
Walk through the fire. I get it, right? Can't really do that in slap, unfortunately. It's not a blow for blow 1-to-1. There's a bit of a lull in between, but that would be a
Yep.
little interesting too. Duct tape the hands together and do like a college
Oh
version.
man, yeah. If I would do that, if they'd let me wear American flag shorts and I'd have my mustache like Don Fry,
Yeah, yeah.
and I'd get a Japanese guy or a Korean guy on the other side. I'd reenact that for Don.
That was historic. That was every once in a while I see that come up on my YouTube feed and I can't help but click on. I know
Yeah.
what to expect, but I'm clicking on it every time.
Yep. Yeah.
That
No.
was
So and I think this sport also is even with JT, it's leading to people opening their eyes to different things, and don't get me wrong, like I had to cut weight and I was in the UFC PI and the Russian guys were sitting next to me in the sauna and I could, they pointed and they talk and they point and talk and I know they were talking shit. So I I hope they invite me to go to Russia. And I will show up with my American flag shorts. I will, wear a cowboy hat like Don Fry. I'll just be there living it up. Me and John Davis will represent America at its finest.
John Davis walked out in his cowboy boots. I can see him walking into Russia with his cowboy boots for sure.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, my man. I want to see you come back. I think a lot of people want to see you come back. I think you gained a lot of fans. Not only during the event, but I think after, like you said on social media, you're active in a positive way, and I think that it comes through, cuts through all this other garbage that's on there.
It was awesome because I mean, don't get me wrong, I get a decent amount of like, you got your ass knocked, you got your ass beat, but I had a very, very high percentage of people that are like, oh, we're sorry for your loss. We still love you. Like, we're going to watch you. So my fan base, I feel, truly watched me because I was a good person and not because like I was going to win or lose. They just wanted to watch a good person compete at something, which you don't see that very much these days. I mean, don't get me wrong. If they get a guy that's totally shitty against me, I'm probably going to do some trash talking. But AJ's a good guy, so I had no need to do that.
I get it. No, for sure. I think there was a lot of that going on at the event. I spoke to a lot of you guys. I think a lot of you guys, honestly, are genuinely good people, hardworking people. Everyone seems to really have like either the family thing going on or like a real 9 to 5, 12-hour job that they're grinding on the side. So I think that shines through when you guys fight each other very honorably. We do got to let you go though. I know we're getting tight for time. Thank you so much. Before we leave, anything you want to say to the people? Any sponsors, websites, merch store? You got any of that going on yet?
Honestly, I don't have anything like that going on. I was just, working and going through, but I just wanted to thank everyone for watching. And, if I do my best to answer people's DMs and, if you're not a shithead to me, I'll conversate with you and enjoy, you guys talking to me.
Well, you got some fans here, man. Big fans. If you do end up getting some merch or some shirts, you'll definitely be seeing it on this table eventually or hanging up behind me. Thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to seeing you come back. Again, thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. You guys have a good evening.
Thank you.